That goes there. I think I'm going live here, guys. So I have 2 viewers, participants. Let's see who's all in pop out chat. Let's go over here. Wait for some folks to show up. I'm going to adjust some lighting in here because, you know, I'm never prepared. Ever prepared. There we go. Turn that off. Probably turn that and maybe this off. See if that's going to work. That may be what the light I'm looking for. That's a little too much light. Anyway. Hey, Charles. I still can't remember what I was going to ask you. I think I'm losing it. Doesn't take much. Uh-oh. That goes off there. Trying to adjust some of this lighting. I'm going to turn that to there. Maybe that needs to go like that. Just adjusting some things real quick, guys. Okay, where's that? There we go. Not. Oh. Come on. Now that light's not working at all. What'd I do? There we go. There we go. Let's see how that is. Hey, Rick. How's it going? Rick O. It's always tough with YouTube names. You know, I have to say that Facebook, I like how Facebook live streams, I just don't like Facebook. I like YouTube. So, anyway, you know, I do a Friday, something different here. I've been taking a little bit of a break from a lot of things. I figured that we'd do something with, a little too far back. Something with just kind of a Q&A, because that's what it kind of goes to. I was going to work on the one marker today, but the order I got from McMaster Car was wrong. They sent me the wrong stuff. I mean, completely the wrong stuff. Actually, some kind of cool things I was working on is I have an AKA bolt here, right? Get my face out of the shot. AKA bolt, and I want to put it like an end cap on it. So we reverse the, we thread them in deeper. This is a Killshot Customs kind of thing that he does. We reverse the plunger, and then he'll take off a couple of the rings on the back, and then I want to put a cap on there. So I looked at this, found this stainless steel. It's a 1/2 inch by 13 thread. That's what that is. I can get everything in there. Machine this down to screw into the back as a plug. And I don't know if I don't like it. I thought I'd like it. I kind of want to do some custom. I kind of want to finish off the back of that. Not because there's another company that said that, just because I've always wanted to do that, and now I have an opportunity to do it. I just never had time to do my own stuff. Let's see. Working anyway. Yeah, all right. That sounds good. Let's see if we can get a few more people in here. 2 concurrent viewers. Let's clear that off. I don't know, it's Friday. It's always interesting on Fridays. And we'll cut it short if there really aren't any questions. I have a couple topics we could talk about. And if you saw how I labeled this, I labeled it as questions and my opinion answers. So when it's such a one-way type of thing, or it's kind of a partial one-way, it makes it somewhat difficult to, I don't know, to really have good dialogue, if that makes any sense. So it's that's just kind of my opinion. So I kind of brought it. So I wrote down some things, some topics that if anyone wants to ask, feel free. If no one wants to ask anything, I'll bring a couple topics to see if we can bring some dialogue. If not, if it's just another boring Friday night, we'll cut it short, and I'll probably just delete the video. That's fine, unless there's really good content in it. But I was, not that I'm bored. It's just I've been doing video editing most of the day, and that gets really tiring for a while. My eyes get tired on that. So this is just a good opportunity to do some other things. So, but 7 playbacks. I gotta remember what all these things are. Okay, I look at the stream settings, analytics. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into this, go to my YouTube. There it is, live right now. We're gonna go here. We're gonna share this. Copy. We're gonna put it on Facebook, and see if we can drive some more traffic this way. We'll try. We'll put it in this guy right here. Give me a second, folks. Creating a post on Facebook. The most horrible place in the world. Let's see if that works. Post. And I gotta post it over here. Let's see, Charles Bird, what's your favorite unique feature on a specific cocker? Oh man, unique feature on a specific cocker. That's a good one. Let me think. You guys are probably going to come up with better stuff than I do. I'm imagining. I'm trying to think. Unique feature. Unique. I'll go through a whole bunch of. I don't have a favorite per se. I like frames that have the beaver tail installed, like the free flow clutch frame where it goes all the way back. I thought that was really, really nice touch. I do like that. Or what's your favorite cocker part? I gotta post these things that Charles put in up here. Or Charles, if you guys aren't seeing this in the chat, Charles is Charles Bird out of Canada. I think, and I don't have my free flow clutch available right this second. I think I like where that goes all the way back on a frame. I like that. I like how Free Flow did that. Unique features. This is a good one. And I'll bring out this one and see if I can go to Super Source. Oh, is this camera working? Oh. I don't know if that camera's working, so I'm going to go back to this camera. I don't think I have it. Do I have it turned on now? Yeah, I do. Let's go back to Super Source. And I would say, like on the free flows, how it continues all the way back, I do like that. There are some downfalls to that because you somewhat get limited on a wire style detent. So that's not bad. Now, okay, this is a good unique feature, and I don't have one to show you. I had one, but remember the bone break autocockers and the later ones, the before they stopped, and they were the ones that were 11/16. I had a green one. Actually, Dan Bazzani has a green one and the black one, but Charles is. Here's examples for cocker part. So, yeah. So anyway, so on that beaver tail, it was on that markers they used War Games hinge frames, aluminum, not aluminum, but anodized ones, and then they machined the frame that we're tang on the frame a little bit narrower, and then they allowed the beaver tail to interlock with it, and it looked seamless as one piece, which I thought was really good looking. So I like that seamless look. And I'll show you where things aren't seamless. This is kind of crooked here, but I'll show you. Oh, this way. I like this. I like where screws are flushed. And see these screws? That's a unique feature. That to me is a nice touch. Angry humpback frames to me are the most. For me, they're the most comfortable. They fit my hand really well. I just like them a lot. Super comfortable. Let's put this away before I don't damage it. But yeah, that's kind of something that I think I like a lot. Let me go close out of here. Go back to my YouTube. 4 concurrent viewers. Look at, we're going gangbusters, guys. It's just nuts night. So it may be a quick night. That's fine. Maybe Dylan's on. Maybe is Dylan live stream? Let's see if Dylan is. What if I can live stream his live stream? That would be funny. I can do that actually. We can make that happen. Okay, so let's go. Let's see. I bet you he is. He gets a good handful of folks. He does a good show. I'm not going to knock him at all on that. He does a really good show, or he has some good content. A little long, but of course, so am I. Say Conquer Top. I bet you he is. I think he does things. I can't remember when he does stuff. We could talk about Free Flow's line of markers. He may not be on because I think he may be videos. So let's see if he's live feeding. I don't think he is. Anyone know if he's live feeding tonight? I don't subscribe to the updates. I just usually watch them later. I do watch them. No, I don't think he is tonight. Let me see. Here's the more tab. No, he's not. All right. So a lot of times we'll get him, or who's it? I'm trying to think. There is another person that's on. He lives close to me. Example. Okay, we already got that one. Anyway, I don't know. So okay, so that's a feature. So I like that integrated beaver tail. I think that's always looks good. I like P blocks. I just do P blocks or those style. Mini or full size doesn't bother me. I'm not a big fan of, I'm not a big fan of the extended reach with the vertical ASA on the front block, and it's a full size gun where it's like this gap here. I think there's something needs to go in there. Something needs to fill that. Even if they were to make like something that bolted where the ASA was, just enough where if your thumb ran up, it would hit the bottom of that. I don't know. Just for me, that's what I don't like. I like the full size, that full stretch. I just don't like the fullness of that. And that's kind of like this. It's missing. Like it's there, but it's missing this one part. So I just don't like that. But I think it's just me accustomed to looking at autocockers and seeing that vertical ASA there, and it just seems like there's something missing. So I don't know. That's it. Let's see. William says, what's William say here? Okay. I have pumps, and everyone puts hitman arms on pumps. Okay. I have pumps. I have a pump, and everyone puts hitman. I have a pump. And everyone puts hitman arms on there. I just use quarter bolt and plastic sleeve. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. So William says that, well, if I get it right, that she just, instead of getting an expensive pump mine, hitman mod, something that's anodized and fancy, you just put a bolt with a plastic, like maybe a spacer in there, and that makes it a little more comfortable. Makes sense for me. Works, if that's what floats your boat. So I think that's what you're trying to say. It's always kind of hard to type sometimes. I get that. But so yeah, so those are things I like. Like this one, this is a Visani gun. This is one that he did for Fight Club. I won this. This actually got won twice on Fight Club. As Charles Bird says, Numec frames. Numec frames do a good job of extended reach. Yeah, yes, they do. I agree with you, Charles. I think they do. I just think it looks funny, right? It just looks kind of weird there. That's in the light, right? But anyway, this is a Daniel Visani. This is a side feed. That's a vertical feed. If I can bring that here, I got to take my face out of it so it focuses on. You guys see that? And he machines this, like I guess like on a 5-axis or something, and then presses it in there. It's pretty crazy. But this is a Visani. It's got a kill shot frame on it. Let me close this little viewer thing out here. It's got a kill shot frame on it. I got to get the face focus thing turned off. Works great with other things. And then this was won by a gentleman, I think down in Santa Cruz area or something like that, or acquired off of Fight Club. And Visani made it. And I think the guy changed a couple things on it. I don't know. And then it went back up on Fight Club, and then I acquired it off of Fight Club. It's got one of the Scony flat triggers on it. I do like this. I didn't think I'd like it. But this is very 1911 trigger feeling, so I like it. Empire Resurrection has no gap. Yep, I agree with you there. Yeah. So this is a nice marker. This thing shoots amazing. It's all ShockTech, lower tube, front end kit, and then AK 2-liter, AK bolt, Inception Designs, feed neck, and I think this is an autocockerparts.com or a Check It ball detent. I can't remember. Inception easy on off, T-slotted in the frame, and then it has all of Dan's trigger guru stuff in here, which makes this thing, man, I can't explain it. It's just butter. Super butter. I don't know. I may think this is a super game. I don't mind branding. This is, one of the first Fight Club guns that were done. I think before they started doing, ShockTech started doing stuff for them. Doing the Fight Club SFL. But anyway. Other things, so people that showed up were kind of talking. Charles asked, what are my favorite features, certain things that kind of stick out on autocockers. I haven't held one of the new die guns or new free flow reflex, whatever you want to call it, the one that just got released. People are getting in their hands. I haven't held one. I've talked to a person that has one. Talked to them for quite some time, and we talked about different things on it. But I think the frame looks really good. I think it's a really good looking frame. I'm just curious how it actually feels and how does that trigger feel. Now I know that free flows have a looser style trigger that isn't to my liking, but some people like it, so that's just my opinion, yeah, I don't know. My apple juice going down, but I think that's it's just a good looking. I didn't like the old reflex. I like this one. I think it looks better. I've never owned a reflex, and I just steered away from it. I just didn't like them. I think they're ugly. But this one looks good. I think they did a good job. What are they doing? They're doing the dark. That's another one that's coming out. Doing a lot of the old kind of free flow collab guns. It's good. I think that's awesome. I think it's good for them. I'm glad they're hitting it up on that. I think that's really good. What do you guys? What are your guys' favorite things? William, who else do we have? We've got two people, so it's probably just William and Charles. So it's a small crowd. This may be a really short one, guys. Then I may go back to screwing around the garage. But I do want to talk about some new stuff while you guys are typing, if you are typing anything. New things that kind of hit the Facebook world. You guys remember seeing the post with a guy that he had this 9.5 inch or almost 10 inch barrel or something like that, It was 9.5. Really odd length. William says, hold on, let me click this in here. Half block or full blocks, any real performance difference? Oh, good question. So I'm biased on half blocks. I just don't like them. Is there any performance difference? There can be if things aren't tuned correctly. Half blocks don't use a cocking rod, so you're reliant on the length of the slot in the hammer, on where the bolt goes back. And I know, like when the Resurrections came out, there were some issues with that. That is the fix. Rico says he likes that. I like that. Yeah, it's good. I always like the dark stuff. It always looks really good. But Charles Bird says inline frame front block is my favorite. So, oh, you're talking about the AKA inline frame. That's where the three-way is inline in the center of the gun, not off to the side. Like one up right there. I'm going to point right at it. Whoop, whoop, there's right up there. At least I think that's what you're talking about. So anyway, back to that. Is there any big there can be, depending on how it's set up, if it's set up correctly. My Resurrection, which is right here. Let me grab it. Whoa, almost killed myself. Almost took care of the O-ring box again. Running out of space here. So this is my original Resurrection. Bought it brand new. Have serial number, and it's got an Inception body on it. But everything else is pretty much stock. I think everything put back to stock on it. I mean, everything, even the bolt, stock bolt. I don't remember if I have. I think I may have upgraded the hammer to an Inception hammer. This thing shoots. This is an old one. This is like one of this marker was the one I did a review on Custom Cockers, Paintball Nation, and M. Carter Brown back in the day, the old M. Carter Brown. And this is the one that I called Empire and said, hey, look, I want to do a review on it. How do I get one? I'll pay full price. How do I get it? And they're like, look, they're all sold to dealers, blah, 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 blah. And gave me the big runaround on that. And so I had, yeah, favorite unique feature. Are we still on that? But we moved on. I moved on pretty quick. So it was a good shooter. Some videos, some of my earlier videos of me shooting this. I even have, it's all stock. I didn't change anything because it worked good. It really worked good. I mean, it was consistent. It was decent on air. It did what it was supposed to do. Balls came out the end and hopefully hit the person. And if they didn't hit the person, it was either 99% my fault. So on some of the newer Resurrections, I think those tolerances are off. But I don't know, man. Half blocks have to really be built well. And I really, when people when they take a marker and they cut it and they don't know what they're doing, and they don't have a kit that's really designed for it, then yeah, I've seen some stuff that's just as horrendous. I did a turtle cocker. It was a nightmare. I did make a custom bolt for it. It was a complete nightmare. That green turtle, remember that stuff? That thing, I never finished live feeding that thing because it was a nightmare. It was nothing but a complete frustrating gun. And then I knew the history of the gun. I knew the people that had gone through. And I'm like, wow, this thing's a disaster. You know, and you talk to people that had it, it's like, oh yeah, you're working on that thing, huh? They're like, good luck, get a case of beer. You'll need it. And it was electro, and it was one of those, I call it it has the pneumatic hammer. It was just a really weird, and it was like a prototype too. So it's even worse. It's like if you can line up everything that's going to be a complete disaster, that gun was. So anyway, but okay, so let's talk. This is not one of the barrels. It is from the same guy. It's a 680 barrel. If I can get it, the focus not on me, but on that. This is that 9-inch barrel that He's kind of marketing for like Emacs and stuff like that. And this is the guy that's American-made company or American company, America, um, that they do medical stuff, and their surface finishes are phenomenal. And I don't know if I can get that to, I don't know if it's going to reflect in there. And usually you can get on surface finishes, you can see when you go down, you'll see a ripple. And that, I'm going to have focus hell on that. It's the surface finish is amazing. Now, I don't know how much surface finish really does a whole bunch or not. I don't know. I've had barrels that didn't have really good surface finish and shot great. I think it's maybe will help you with more consistency. I don't know. But I did buy one of these. I asked for if he had anything smaller than a 686 is what he was marketing, and I said, look, that stuff just doesn't work where I'm at. I mean, that's a barrel that I would just throw in the bottom drawer and just walk away from it. I wasn't willing to fork out, I think, the $50 or whatever it was, 50 or 60 bucks. And he said he had his version 1s in 680. The only difference is the outside cuts on it, and the porting is a little less. Same size holes. I think he adds a few more holes on it. So it has about, it's 9 inches. It has about 7 inches or 6.5 inches of control bore. All the way down is control bore, but then it opens up the porting, and so just more control bore. I shot it. It's loud. To me, this barrel is a excellent barrel for a field owner that's running Emacs or anything like that, that wants a barrel that's going to maybe fit some of the new smaller paint. I was going to carry this barrel. I still may. I've talked to them. I got some dealer pricing. People that like short barrels, I like short barrels. Some people hate them. I like them. They're pretty cool. But, and I can't remember, he doesn't have a name of the company, I don't think. But you can see it's, I mean, if I compare it to, here's the Resurrection barrel. I think the Resurrection's a 14-inch barrel. Let's go like that. There you go. You kind of see what I'm talking about. So the porting starts on this one. It's gonna, so the kind of curious. Let's see on this guy. The Resurrections were, I think they're 8-inch porting. So I don't know. This is anyway kind of cool. I still think I like these barrels. I think these are a nice barrel. Just really well done. Just good looking barrel. I like them. I'll buy them up. I actually have a couple of these sets because they have like 675, which is great. The company finally listened to put a barrel kit in a marker, and it was Simon because he knew, and that actually you used it, and that was, I don't know, it wasn't revolutionary, but it was revolutionary in a lot of ways. I know that now most of the stuff's coming with things, but I think they were kind of setting the pace on that. So other things, okay. Yeah, well, I can't disagree with you at all on that. It really does. Really kind of goes up to what I do. I have a Freak XL and a regular Freak, and then Field 1. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. And I like my Field 1. I really do. I think it shoots really good. But it's weird. It's like I'll have my Freak barrel XL, and it will shoot really good with certain paint, and then on certain stuff it doesn't. And I put the Field 1 and it shoots amazing with that paint. So it's just weird. I agree with you. It really depends on the paint. Like back in the day, I think paint varies so much now that each barrel, it's an insert barrel, then it has the next bore that opens up, and they'll shoot a little differently. And I think, I don't know why. I don't know why it's all like that. It comes down to paint sucks. Paint used to be great back in the day. It sucks now. I cannot see what else. Other small companies. This is the Meteor frame. So if you guys were curious, I ordered a whole bunch of these, and they do take 1911 grip panels. They're not a perfect fit on the bottom. Not the end of the world, and they don't look bad. This is a War Game grip panel, and it's bolted on. I'm going to show you. It's just a tad bit thick. Come on, face, get out of there. There we go. So it's got a little bit of a gap there. So you guys, you know, if you do get these, I love these grip panels. I always thought they felt so comfortable. If the frames would break, you know, these were really comfortable grip panels, and it makes me wonder if this is what the die feels like as an angle, not as a thickness, but as an angle. Because I know there's just thin and hourglass is in and stuff like that. But I got these. I contacted Febreze and I said, hey, look at I'd like to get some. I'd like to order a whole bunch of these. So I ordered a whole bunch, and they're going to be loaded up ShockTech plates. If I can get my ShockTech plates. Let me grab some right here. Hold your horses. And I think I have them all. Let me grab a ShockTech plate. And it's a really nice fit in here with the ShockTech plate. If I can get my face to not focus on me, but focus on this. Really nice fit. Nice slip fit. So we'll have ShockTech plates with, I don't know if I'm going to do ShockTech roller or what. I haven't decided on that. We'll see which roller sear ends up being in here. But then they'll be anodized. Now, what should I anodize them? Should I know people say, like, we'll leave raw. I may leave, like, a couple raw for people that want to do kits. But they could just buy one from Febreze raw. That's the way I look at it. Dust black, so these go into Bell Cells guns and some of those older guns and that have lost these frames, and you want to get a nice, or the pop metals, they've cut the trigger guard out, whatever, you want to put a trigger guard back on it. They do not have a safety on them. Kind of wish they did. Would have been a pretty easy thing to pop a hole in there. Someone could still do it. You could send it off to Antle. I'm sure you get a bunch of safety in there for you, and everything would be happy-go-lucky on it. The frame hole screws, there is a front and rear glide screw. If I look here, I think there is. Yes, front and rear glide screw. 10/32, if I recall. Let's find out. Let's see if it is 10/32. I'm pretty sure it is. Hold on. Hold on. Right here. I think they are. I hope they're not metric. I know that these screws here were not metric. 10/32. Let's see. So, they're a comfortable frame. I was really hoping to find out that there's a firearm out there that uses the same grips, and I was thinking that it may be something like CZ or something like that. Yes, it is 10/32. That's 10/32, and that's 10/32 should be, my glass on, 1/4 inch on the front. It may be even smaller than 1/4 inch, so it doesn't stick through. Yeah, it may have to be a little shorter than 1/4 inch, because what happens is, if I can get that to, why am I? See that right there? Where it runs through there, right there. And it looks like it's about level. That it could be 1/4 inch, just for shoots and giggles. But these are going to be built out, so they'll have all the right screws in them. And then they'll be sold on Docfire Paintball. So it'd be kind of cool, something a little different. You know, no one's selling these as completes. So they're just as a raw frame. So stay tuned for that, I guess. If you guys think, let me know, should I do gloss black and dust black or what? I'm not gonna do raw. You can buy raw from Febreze. I may save like 1 or 2 for raw. I don't know. Let me know. Let me know what you guys think on these Meteor retro frames. What we should do. So if I stand back like that, you guys can see them. See the little gap there? That's with these War Games panels. I'd love to find the old air guns designs, the wraparound rubber ones. That'd be kind of cool. But let's see. Anyone saying? Nope. No one's saying anything. All right. So people have showed up. It's a question and answer. You ask me a question. I'm going to give you my opinion. You can love it, hate it. I don't care. It'll be my opinion. I'm going to try to be fair. Okay. Yeah. Okay, you can. I'll do in gloss pink. It's going to cost a little more money because it's a one-off, but you better buy it. Purple to green fade. Yeah, you guys know that these are going on guns that are. I'm not putting it on a gun. It's. You want the Joker colors on it. Yeah. Okay. Well, it looks like everyone's having fun on Friday. Okay, so. Okay, William, is the ShockTech wrap valve better than stock War Games or Palmer's valve? Yes or no? They are different. Thanks, Rick. So they're all a little different. They all do the same thing, right? They all, get hit with a hammer. They open. They allow a metered amount of air go up and blow the ball down the barrel at a certain velocity. Is it better? Let's break it down. Let's look at serviceability. And I'm not biased. I was not a big ShockTech rat valve user. Mainly because they just sold the valve, then the fat hammers, everything was separate back in the day. And I mean, you could buy as a kit, but you never did that because you never had enough. At least I didn't have enough money to do that. And I fought with them. I hated them because they would come with the front spray, but not the hammer spraying. And then there was really not much for the instruction world on it, and there wasn't a lot of information out there on it. And I fought them, and I got a hold of AKA, and they came with instructions on how to set their valve up in a marker, and you did the yellow springs, and it worked. So I just kind of stuck with AKA for years, and I just steered away from the rat valve because it was a pain in my ass because I didn't understand it, and they didn't provide good direction on it back in the day. At least my opinion. I didn't see much good direction. At least, and this is really kind of before internet really had taken off. So people are getting used to figuring out how to do all this stuff. Now we have YouTube, and there's so much information, and yeah. So dust black on the frames. Okay, Rick, that's I'm voting for that too. So which one's better? Neither of them are better or worse than the other. They all do what they're supposed to do. Did you like the cap? Okay, hold on. Joker says, while on the subject of valves, what valve would you use? What valve would you use for a caulker that's been minied? Okay, that's, yeah. All right, so what valve comes with the ShockTech U-cell? Okay, so the valve that comes with the ShockTech I-cell, the Fire Series ShockTech, those first 12 guns were built by Danny. So they are 100% SFL. So they are a RAT3 valve. And so I am a firm believer that if, like AK, when I would buy AK stuff, I'd buy an AK lower tube kit, which is the springs, the valve, a hammer, and the IVG, which was a plug for theirs that had 4 adjustment slots on tension, and that's it. And then you put it in with the screw, and that was it. Did all the regulation or FPS off your regulator. I truly believe in buying a system that has been tested by that company to work with their stuff. Okay. And so if you go and you send your stuff to Palmer's and you have them install a Palmer's valve, they don't really sell a system that I know of, but their valve was really designed to go as a drop-in replacement on an autococker, and I think even using those springs. And but let's go back. I get ahead of myself. So I said about serviceability and kind of like wear out or getting parts for. War Games valves I've been getting tons of the valve stems with the black plastic knob on it, cracked. And so I don't know if anyone's making those anymore. I know that Free Flow makes ones, and they use a hard, like a nylon type substrate, which I'm sure someone can do. So the War Games ones are starting to get harder to find parts for. Inception Designs uses a urethane, I think it's a urethane type of compound with the little wings on it. And it's a molded type setup. And I don't know, who knows what the age of that's going to last out. AKA used a hard nylon also, or some sort of white type of plastic, or if it's nylon or whatever it was. And I'm trying to keep up with your guys' stuff here. Let me clear this off. And then Palmer's uses a butyl rubber that's been pressed in and is not serviceable. So if it goes bad, that valve's bad, and you have to replace that portion, the valve itself, not the valve body necessarily. I'm trying to think some of the other ones that are out there. Free Flow, which is like the War Games. I would say Free Flow and War Games are identical in essence, but the War Game stuff is starting to go bad. So you have Inception, Palmer's, ShockTech, Free Flow. Free Flow has a valve seat that's hard, should last a super long time. It's a hard plastic, unless it gets a piece of sand or something in there where it's going to leak. Then you're going to have to machine that face off, which is doable, and you can reuse it, but you need some sort of machine. ShockTech uses a nylon disc, it's like a washer, and it's a 1/16 of an inch thick. It's nylon sheet. You could literally put the valve down on a piece of sheet of paper, draw a Sharpie around it, and cut it out with scissors, and cut the hole out with a center punch. And if you do the practice a couple times, you're going to get it. Okay, you're going to be able to push that one in there again, as long as the valve, the stainless steel part, doesn't have any nicks on it or damage, which usually doesn't. I've never seen one. The rocket valve, yeah, we'll get into that one in a second. So for serviceability, I think the ShockTech has the longest serviceability, that you can fix all the components as long as the hard parts aren't damaged relatively so that basically the reg seat is fixable. Hey, it's Mark Davis. Let's see what Mark has to say. Hey, I'm live feeding right now.
Oh, sorry, bud.
No, it's okay. Everyone can hear you. So if you say bad things about me, then, you know.
No, just wanted to call and brag about the new barrel I got, but I'll tell you about it later.
All right, I'll call you in a bit.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Mark Davis, send your stuff to him to get engraved. Amazing work. Super, super awesome stuff. So let's go through. Okay, so I told you, William, it's all ShockTech, because I want, I'm buying a gun that I've agreed on the design they make for me under my brand, and it's essentially a ShockTech gun, warranted by ShockTech, at least the first 12R. We'll see the next batch if they're going to be warranted by me or ShockTech. I think they'll still be ShockTech. It depends on who actually assembles them. That's where really ShockTech kind of draws the line. But where are the other ones you said? I got to look up here. Let me scroll up. Stock, and they're all good. The other thing is, each valve is adjusted a little differently. The most common adjustment for autococker valves is through the rear spring adjustment, the IVG, for velocity. AKA and ShockTech, and I think there's another one, and I can't remember what it is. They're done off the regulator for the most part. You set your IVG, gets you in your range, and then you do everything off the regulator. So a ShockTech RAT3 valve is, you put their valve tray in, their fat hammer, their springs, their ShockTech valve, the RAT3 valve. You put the IVG in 2.5 turns or 2 turns from flush in, set your regulator, and they use a CP regulator essentially to 300 PSI, and you should be close to that 300. At least their guns are about, with a good paint the barrel match, they're around 340. Or 300, not 340, 300, from 300 to 320 feet per second, somewhere in that window. generally. And then you just you lower the pressure on your regulator and to your whatever your field chrono is. If you can't lower it enough, then you back the IVG out. Okay. But I don't think anyone's had any problems with that. So everything's done on that without walking up to the chrono. You're not having to disassemble the marker to set up the velocity. That's the whole concept behind it. Okay. And I mean, how many people have had a loose cocking rod come after you've been shooting? You're like, man, what's going on? My thing's, it's skipping, or it's not cocking or whatever. And you screw in your cocking rod and it's come out a couple turns. So that's a benefit. So there's two benefits for Shock Tech. And yes, I'm biased, remember, but it's my opinion. You ask me the question, you get my opinion. A little biased on it. But they're all good valves. If they're set up, they work fine. Run them. That's the way I look at it. All right, so let me scroll back down here. What I'm missing. Okay, so it says the rocket valve. The rocket, was that the Madman rocket? Is that the one it was? The one that you had to file the pin down on the back to size it to the, I don't know, the opening. I do know that when you got them to work right, they worked well. They really did. The concept, I think, on the rocket valve was to create a really nice flow path so there's less turbulence going into the valve, and that was that kind of teardrop shaped nylon valve seat mechanism they had there. Good idea, good concept, and I think when it worked, it worked. They wouldn't have sold them if they didn't necessarily somewhat work. But you know, I don't know. I think they were more headache, at least the ones I had, because I remember you had to file down the valve stem to a certain height. So depending on what hammer you had, if you had a hammer that had like a War Games hammer that had that little detent in the front recess, or if you had a flat face hammer, depending on how much you had to file that thing down. And what you did is you had the valve outside of the body, you had the little lock, the jam nut that you put in there to jam the valve in there, and then you push your hammer up against it, and then you would measure the height of how far that goes up, and then you'd file down till it was a certain height. And they had a couple options that you could do on it. Oh, my back itches. So, but to me, it was more hassle than what your benefit was out of it. But I did hear that people that got them liked them. It's kind of like the morph valve, right? You know, the one that I worked with Jack Rice on getting the morph valve up and running. And that was me reaching out to Jack to say, I think your valve will work on an autococker. Got one of those valves, modified it for it went in this gun. It's not in here anymore. And there's a video, I don't know if it's live, it may be a private video that I sent to Jack, and I said, here, it's working. And literally we modified it, went home and, you know, did put it in the gun and shoot him a video of the thing, very consistent, very super quiet over a chrono, and it worked really well. I gave him the valve and said, copy this exactly. Kind of made some changes, which did affect things. But all in all, those valves when they work great. That is the one. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know, I don't know. They're all good. You know, I think if you get them working, great. If they like your marker, you know, I've had some War Games, just standard War Games guns, markers that shot phenomenal, and then ones that's exactly the same components, like but you fought all day long, and they just, if the tolerances were off or something was funky with them, they just didn't like whatever. And so I think, but I don't know. So when it kind of comes down to valves, I personally look at serviceability for long-term life. You know, when Shock Tech disappears and whatever, maybe autocockers die off completely in the manufacturing realm, which I don't think they ever will. And then no one's making anything. And then you're on the hunt for parts. Now they made tons of parts, so that made everybody an issue. But, you know, I kind of want to make sure that, you know, now, you know, 10 years from now, that I can still shoot this gun if I have the valve leak, and I can go cut my own brake seat out of it. So I look at those, and I look at the ability that I don't have to take the marker apart, and I really don't have to sweet spot it. I basically follow the directions of saying, if it's ShockTech lower tube kit, and not necessarily ShockTech bolt, you don't need that, but a ShockTech lower tube kit, which is everything all the way back to the cocking rod. Set your reg at 300 psi, 2.5 turns in from on the IVG, and see where it's at. And the reality is you should be pretty close to above your field limit, and then do everything off the regulator and be happy. Good paint to barrel match, buy good paint, and have fun. Don't worry about taking your gun apart. So, any other questions? So let's bring up another topic. Tools of the trade. Got my notes here. I did notes today. Yeah. Tools. You guys want to talk about tools, O-rings, pump kits, and hardware sources. Where do you get your hardware stuff? Where do you find all that stuff? Which one do you want to talk about? Anyone? Tools? Like tools? Talk about tools. You know, this right here. Sharpie. Draw a little eyebrow on. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yeah, I know apple juice came in bottles anymore. Weird. Old school. You guys let me know what you want to talk about. I have, so just to let you go, this is the, the paid infomercial, right? So I am a Field 1 dealer. And I do have some of their Field 1 light kits, right? But as you know, I marked the box here, says Cocker with the smudge mark on my finger. Because Sharpie doesn't dry that quick. And so I looked at their junior kits, right? And and I can't remember what do they really come with, I should say. 2 different bore size. I do a junior plus kit. So I actually buy some backs and then I add it to it. So this is the junior plus kit that has 2 backs. And I look at it for an autococker. So I have their orange and red back. So the 675 and their 679 backs. Okay. And this is the dust to gloss, which I do like that combo. It looks really good. And I do these 2 small bores, for 2 people, for pump players and for cocker players, because paint rolls out of everything else. And when you get a 693 barrel insert, it's garbage. It's good for nothing. Okay. I'm trying to catch up here with the things. I bought a tube cutter. I bought the tube cutter you suggested. What tube cutter did I suggest? Oh, the little blue one for cutting the macroline tube? Is that the one? Is that the one it is? Strap wrench is key. Yes. Yeah, it is. I think there's... we're going to talk about tools. So let's tools. So I think, and I think as a paintball player, it's inevitable that you're going to have to tweak on your marker. And I think, in my opinion, because that's what it's about, right, is that a good Allen set, and yes, some manufacturers give you Allens, little short things. I don't know. I throw them all away. They're all just, I don't know. They're not worth it. They're cheap Allen sets. 9 times out of 10, they're cheap Allen sets. And like you get this really expensive gun from PE or Dye or something like that, and you get this Allen kit with it, and it's really an inexpensive, probably costs them a couple dollars for that Allen set, and they're really junk. And I believe in anything that's I'm not saying just because it's made in the USA that's good, but it's made in the USA, America, folks. Okay, but Bondus makes a quality kit that's readily available on Slamazon, and this is the colored one. I have the nickel, the silver one. So the colored one's kind of handy to just I don't know, it's easier for me to see, I guess. The only part with the color one is the paint they use. Sometimes it's like a Cerakote type of paint. It's just a little thick. Sometimes it's hard to push it in on some of the screws. But I don't necessarily agree with the ball tip. Okay, so if I was looking for an Allen set key, this one of these ball tips are handy. Don't get me wrong, but they tend to have more stainless steel screw strips because of use of ball tip and lack of knowledge on it. The ball tip's really just to remove after it's been loosened, and the short end's there to get it broke free. So I always kind of suggest the one that's square on the end, but this should be the number one thing in your case, and it should be a full kit like this. This is, for the most part, your full standard-ish kit. Goes up to 3/8 all the way down to 0.50 or 1/16, which is next one up. But this actually does everything that 90% of the caulkers will have on it, and so this is like the number one thing needs to be on your kit. The other thing that honestly, I always kind of look at two kits, right? You have a kit that's like maybe your bench kit, then you have a field kit, and maybe it's one in itself. Maybe it goes out with you. Then I think a good trying to think, like just simple things like some razor blades. What is I have the same, the incline fit bought from Benny's about 20. Yep, that's another good kit. They're not bad. You gotta look out some of those. I think they're starting to get stuff made in China now, I think. Or maybe it's a lookalike one. I don't know, which is not uncommon, right? So there's another one that's out there. That's a German one. You really want to go out the way. You talk to people that are machinists, they'll tell you the ones that they use that are, a lot of them will say they'll use Bonus, but there's another German one that's really, really nice. The one thing when I was working with Danny Love is he goes, here, use this. And he gave me a nut driver. I don't have it in here. It's out in the shop. It's a nut driver. It's an Allen it's like an Allen on one into these. Okay. But this is like one Allen. And I go, this is really nice because it's really tight. Because it's machined to a really high tolerance. And so the little set screws that I was putting in would stick on the end of it, and I had to wiggle them on to get on there. And they were the set screws for the trigger shoes on the frames. And so I literally had to kind of push them on there. And he says, I really like these because you'll never strip out even stainless steel ones, even with pulling green Loctite or blue Loctite out. He says they're really hard to strip out, and I can't remember the name of the company. But they're for RC car stuff, and it's a company out of Southern California, and it's a USA made product, which is really nice. Frontline or F-line or something, I can't remember. I'll have to see if I can find it. But they're not cheap. They're like $60, and they have not just metric. They have obviously, American numbers, fractional, whatever, SAE, whatever you want to call that. But they're really good. And I have from 1/8 inch down to like this 0.05 for those really small screws, and it's like phenomenal. Like you have a screw that even it's like you're like, man, I think I'm gonna strip this thing. This is it's really good. They're really high tolerance. You almost have to push it into the screw to make it work. So it's a really tight fit. So those are handy, but not necessarily needed. They're a little more expensive. I'm trying to think of other things. Let me clear this off here. Got 7 fusers in here. We've been kind of fluctuating. We've had some up to like 15 or 20, and now we're down to people. They get bored. I get it. So other tools. I hate to say, I always kind of say like, what are you going to be using at the field? And like, for instance, this has got the A&S, the 3-way. Come on, face out of it. Come on, focus in here. This guy right here. I think that's 1/4 inch. I have a little wrench for that. So in the field, if I need to adjust it, I have it. like on new ShockTech stuff and Inception stuff, you can use an Allen key at the end of their broached at the end. I try to look for tools that I would use for adjusting the timing if I needed to on it. Things like that. Lube. Obviously, for me, it's usually a small bottle. This is too big. Something small. I don't need a lot of lube at the field. I do carry a little slick oleum like this. And then I do carry Teflon tape. And I'm not a big fan of Teflon tape. It's a great quick fix. It really is. And actually, I have a story about Teflon tape. I have a story. If you look at, I have a YouTube video that a gentleman, someone asked me that the question was from a user or a member or subscriber, said, "Hey, I'm interested in getting into the caulker thing. I'm a younger player and I play tournament now. What do you recommend?" And so I kind of went through the three major manufacturers: ShockTech, Inception, Free Flow. People are putting guns out. And I said, there's these three ones, and then, in my opinion, and I think he even said that I'm somewhat biased because I'm a ShockTech dealer, and I'm an Inception dealer. I did in this order for tournament base, because the question was, I'm a tournament player, and I made the assumption that he's going to use it for tournament play, and not that any of the guns won't work in tournament, but and I said, look at the ShockTech first, Inception, then Free Flow. I think in that order. I said, ShockTechs are designed. That's what they're built to be able to be sent to someone and go play a tournament. That's the whole mantra of what Danny and Mark are trying to do to help support the mech community on that. So, and then there's much smaller builders out there. And then the other was buying used. And I kind of go through, like, hey, look, if you're buying used, and at the time, I don't know what the person's ability is. I don't know if they're really mechanical ability or they have no mechanical ability. I you tend to go to the lesser of the scale and err on the side of judgments. And so I basically said, hey, you want to kind of look at different techs, and there's a lot of different techs out there. And I named roughly named some techs like obviously myself, Ryan Jameson, not Ryan Jameson, Bearded Works, Tim Furpo, and there's a few other ones I named off that are legitimate businesses that you can get a hold of the folks and they provide some sort of a warranty with their product. And I said, then you can look at that. So you can look at the cost of that, because you don't know what you're getting from a used gun. Everyone's going to say the gun works perfect, right? Oh, it works perfect. How many people have gone through that? Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. So anyway, I go through that, and then I said my recommendation would be to buy, a new gun, because you're going to have. My thought is you're going to have your best experience with a new gun. And I had another member respond to that comment just recently. It's an older comment that I put in there, but they responded and they disagreed with me, which is perfectly fine. I love when someone that has a different opinion or a different take on something says, hey, look, I disagree with you. And they are a viewer and they watch, and I think that's great. And they disagree with you and they had their things. And then I rebuttal, because that's the beautiful thing about debate, human debate, where we get to talk back and forth and actually get our concepts and our ideas across. And I can say, look, I think what you're doing is wrong. And they're going to go, well, this is the reason why I'm doing it. And maybe in the end, it's just a misunderstanding. That happens. And so I rebuttal back from their response and, respectfully say, look, I agree with a lot of things you say, but I was answering the question under the fact that this person is a tournament player and new to autocockers, number one. And so has never played with them. So I'm assuming they're a younger player, and that's how I'm answering the question. And with that, I think their best player experience for an autococker is something new. And the reason, not that I'm trying to get them into something new, of course I am, but I think their best experience is going to be, because the goal is to have the person buy an autococker, shoot it, and actually see what we all think and all the things that we see and why we continue to shoot these things. And you know, a lot of people say, "Wow, it's an autococker," and you know, I'm at Super Game and guys will be like, "Oh, this is really cool," and I'm like, "Well, you should look at getting one." They're like, "No, I just don't. They're just so much of a nightmare to use, and they're such a maintenance, and they're not, you know." And that's the but the problem is people have bought autocockers that were poorly assembled or misused or whatever, or in bad condition, and they fought them, and they just threw them back in the bag. They had a bad day, and you're never going to continue that community unless you try to make a good player experience. So that's my viewpoint on it. And so that's how I re-explained that. I said, hey, look, this is how I answered the question. I did agree with the commenter on a lot of things they had to say, and I don't remember exactly everything, but it was really, he was really believing that the person should go and build something. They can build a lot cheaper, and they can learn. There's all these forums, they can do all this research, and yes, they can. And a person like me, that's the way I work. That's why I do the things I do. But at the time, I didn't know what this person that asked the initial question was, what their experience was, or anything like that. So you kind of have to answer the question to the lowest common denominator, the lowest level, and it's not to be disrespectful to that person. It's just you don't know. You're not really talking. I'm not able to interact in dialogue. I'm just responding to a comment. It's like writing back a letter to someone, and so it really is. And so it's not a conversation. So and even and not that I had any problem. I think it's great that the person first asked the question, then the second person that rebutted against or had some disagreements with what I said. But then I, hopefully was able to clear it up with some clarification for that person, and they understood what my mindset was when I was responding. All right, so what's this? Mark Davis, you decide to take tools to the field, but buy extra cheap Allens that are the size used for velocity rate adjustment. Your teammates take. Mark, you are exactly right. And I'll call you when I get done with the live feed here. You guys know Mark Davis. Mark Davis hand engraving. Some of the best stuff you can find in paintball. Actually, the best hand engraving you're going to find in paintball, period. It's bar none. There's no one else doing what he does. No one. And if you have seen his stuff, hey, and if you haven't, go to Super Game. You'll see his stuff at Super Game Oregon. He was there last year. He'll be there again this year with his Mark. Hopefully he'll have some left. He's not sold out of Mark 5s. But I was holding some Mark 5s there. And go play paintball with Mark Davis. He is a long time. He's an old son of a bitch. I mean, you'd be amazed when you see how old he is. He's going to kill me. But he is really freaking old. And I mean, so look at, I've seen people play paintball in wheelchairs, but walkers, man, that's a new one to me. But man, Mark's out there. He's got his diaper on, and he's gonna kill me. So no, Mark is actually a phenomenal player, by the way, very good player, and better than me. But he's a tournament guy too, so old school tournament guy. Mark, what teams you play on? I can't remember. Yeah, I know. See, Mark has a lot of history on me too, and I've only known the guy for a few years, but we've got pretty good friends. But he has plenty of bad stuff. I'm joking, Mark. Please be nice. But walker with wheels, right? Yeah, I don't know. I plan on playing with a walker. But anyway, so things that my kit's always overdone, so I'm usually fixing people's stuff for them. O-rings. O-rings, every O-ring for that marker, times 2. At least. Because it's inevitable. Illinois Scorpions, that's right. Rick, what age group are you in the old? Are you in the, have you crested the 50? Are you below the 50 and above the 30? So are you 30s, 40s, or 50s? Because I'm 50s. I feel like I'm 12. Mark is, that's the team Mark played with, Illinois Scorpions. And Mark, you guys played against, yeah, here it is. NXL World Champions. Yep, hey, look at recently. 5 Mad Mech, 2018 and 19. Pretty nice. At what, 600,000 years old. It was the Grandpa edition. No, wasn't it? No, that was legit. That was really really cool. It's my wife, and ignore her. Well, it's probably that's gonna make me sleep on the couch tonight. But yeah. So other things, I overdo, but I do believe all the O-rings, lube, Allen wrenches, and then a backup marker, something safe, like another cocker, you know. I have, yes. Okay, welcome to the club, buddy. I've definitely crested myself 3 times. But I carry Loctite. And I know it's not going to set up right away, but I carry this stuff right here. Vivatite 111. This is low strength, and there's some Spanish words and some French words, I think. Resistance. And it's just for small screws and stuff like that, but I find it works great for air fittings. And it sets up super quick. So if your air fitting's clean, you got all the tape garbage off of it, you clean it up. Own a little O-ring pick so you can clean that out too. Sponsored by what, Mark? Prevagen. Yes, sponsored by Prevagen. Yeah, I was thinking Ben Gay or something like that, or ARP, sponsored by ARP. Yeah. So, or Mercy Flight, which is helicopter flights. But anyway, but I do carry this in there. I have little small containers I do sell, and yes, that is a paid sponsor thing on that. And 52, Rick's 52. Rick, I'm a year older than you. No, I'm the same age, but I may be a year older here fairly soon. But we're the same age, essentially. So Loctite works great for those fittings. Teflon tape in those dire needs. A backup marker. I don't care what gun you have a backup marker, something that's safe, like an EMEC. I hate to say that, or another autococker. I generally take 2 or 3 autocockers with me, not as backup markers, because I really want to play with some of the other ones up there. It's when you have a collection of stuff, there's some that never get played with and stuff like that. So, wow, I'm not the old guy. William, what range? Yeah, more. William, what range are you in, buddy? Clear that off. What range? Yeah, I don't need to know your date or birthday or social security number. I mean, you can email me that stuff if you want to, but deed to your house or whatever. But just more curious. It's curious because you're getting a lot of folks. You want to get a lot of younger folks. They're not into watching these long things. I don't know. Just interesting. But other tools, I'm trying to think. Have wrenches or a small crescent wrench. I recommend going down to Kragen Auto or O'Reilly's or whatever AutoZone, and try what brand is this? These are the professional. These are Ace Hardware. And this is pretty old. And if we could get this in there, if I go up there, so this is kind of a thinner one, which I do like, and they're all soft. They don't have any sharp edges. Smart, because you don't scratch things up. That's handy. Some macro line and some micro line. Think of that. A couple razor blades and the little packages. That's always handy to do. And that's, I think, all you really need. I usually bring 2 to 3 cockers and my M170. I had an M170. I really liked it. And the mech frame on it. And then I had I'd love to frame and mech frame. I bought the mech. I think it was a 170. Maybe it was a 160R. I don't know. It's one of those. I get those confused. But it had that. Remember the first, before the hair valve, there was a guy that out of Arizona that came up with the what's the name of that valve for the 160R. But it got banned in a tournament because it was like ridiculously fast. It worked amazing. I mean, that was, and it pissed me off. It got banned because then like the hair comes out and everyone's like, "Yay, desert," you know. And I'm like, what about this lonely guy that was in his garage built this really amazing valve, and then his company gets pretty much shoved in the dirt because no one will allow him to use it anywhere. It was dumb. Yeah, I can't think of the name of the. I'll need a name here in a second. Other thing is, real quick, let's. I got 6 users, and I think we're probably gonna wrap it up here. But let's see, what's this? Charles Birch, you have a set. Yes, I do. I do it separate. I'm not that organized, Charles. I really wish I was. I should do that. I should have I should get an assistant, a non-paid intern. You know, 25. I could do brunette or blonde, either red hair, either. Yeah, young college assistant. That's horrible. It's like kind of creepy. Anyway, Scony bottom lines. These are these. If I can get back into these, are the Scony laser engraved Scony. These are the ones that he. It's kind of a common designs. I think these are somewhat similar to the old XS. Their Sacramento team, Excessive or whatever it was, XF, whatever it is. They made something similar to this. It's a kind of a lightweight little bottom line. He's redesigned it and has them manufactured to make sure that they work right, and then has his name put on them. But these are nice for. I know everyone's like, "Oh, you gotta have it on off," but I don't know. My Desert Fox doesn't have it on off. I took it off. Everyone's like, "You sell it to me?" I go, "No, I'll put it back on again if I ever sell it, which will be in February." But these are nice because you just screw your tank on, and if that's the marker you're gonna shoot with all day long, is there a reason to turn the air off? Really, you got a barrel sock on the thing. Use some trigger control. This is simplicity. There's nothing except the front fitting or your tank that can go wrong here. There's no O-rings. There's no pin valves that can go wrong. There's nothing like that. It's simplicity at its finest. And these are nice. If you don't have these, Master Scony Paintball sells these, and they are really nice. He's a good guy. Hit him up. Legacy mod. Yes, Charles. That's what it was. Legacy mod. And not the bang switch. Bang switch just got out banged. It really got the bang switch got effed, I think. The Legacy mod was that, and they were out of Arizona. I still have my Legacy mod, or did I sell it? I don't know. Maybe I should sell that thing. It works stupid good. And you know what? If someone were to put a Legacy mod on a 160R, this one that I have, and then build a little trigger guard, it'd be completely legal because they just changed the rules and it's like unlimited now, which is, I don't get why they do that on neck. The arms race is back again. But anyway, any other questions? Any other things? We got 4 viewers. I think we're probably going to wrap this one up for the night. And we've had, all the way up to 25 viewers, I think it was, at one time. And people go in, they peaked, and they left. And that's okay. But it was always good talking with you, gentlemen. And Charles, I think I'll give you a buzz when I get off this here in a second. Then I got to give Mark a call. But Charles, you're further away, so you get the first call. But outside of that, Docfire out. You guys have a good one.